Next up we have Venado kicking it with his third prose. Let's give it up. Let's give him some energy, y'all.
Thank you. So just since there's a few new faces here, since the beginning of this evening, I've been sharing a poem I've been writing since last week, since I came here, called Perseus and Medusa. And it is a retelling of the ancient myth of Perseus, the Greek hero who killed Medusa. So, yeah, I'm currently on chapter 3 of my version of this. And where we last left our hero, he and his mother, Perseus the baby, and his mother had been put into a chest by an evil king and sent along on the sea, hoping that they would be destroyed, but they were not destroyed. The sea floated them to an island called Seriphos, where they were rescued by a man named Dictys, a fisherman, who happened to be the brother of the king of the island. And that's where we pick up the thread of the story. And they've been living with him for 15 years. So that's where we pick up the thread of the story. While all those years were passing, Dana's son became a lad, and awed his neighbors with his stature and the skills he had. For though he was a youth, the gifted boy excelled his peers, and by a head surpassed the height of men of 30 years. The island's other denizens surmised his birth divine, for when he wrestled, boxed, or ran, his friends were far outshined. His spears and discs set island records when he let them soar, and never yet were boats propelled so fast as by his oar. In sports and songs and books and all that glorifies a man, his wondrous skills earned Perseus esteem throughout the land. The lad was not just strong and smart, but honest, brave, and kind, for good old Dictys trained him in the virtues of the mind. And as he came of age, he helped the merchants ply the sea, and voyaging to nearby realms earned income handsomely. Now when the boy was sailing once, his mother, back at home, was placed in perils none could help but Perseus alone. For secretly, King Polydectes wasn't like his brother, but wickedly succumbed to lust for Perseus' mother. At first he tried by lies to make her fall in love with him, and asked her hand with style, but Dana saw the veil was thin. For Dana's heart belonged to Zeus, the father of her son, and swore to never lie with any god or man but one. When Dana thanked the king, but said his wish she must reject, his angry heart mistook her words as those of disrespect. And with this false belief his inner cruelty unfurled, and Polydectes had his guards arrest the blameless girl. If thou, he said, detest me so, then be a slave to me. So Dictys lost his daughter, and the girl her liberty. Then Polydectes burdened Dana down with awful jobs, and when her strength would fail, his foreman beat her into sobs. She fetched his water, ground his mill, and wore a chain beside, while Polydectes tempted her with freedom as his bride. But Perseus was far away in Samos at this time, completely unaware of Polydectes and his crime. One sunny day, the merchant ship was loading up with goods, and Perseus, perspiring, saw nearby a shady woods. He entered it and lay beneath a tree to rest his eyes, and soon beheld a vision that exceeded all surprise. He saw a lady moving toward him through the greenery, but tall beyond all mortal men, and fair exceedingly. Her eyes were piercing gray and clear, but strangely soft and mild. She bore a spear and shield whose polished face was undefiled. He saw above her lovely brow a helm that gleamed like new, and on her back a goatskin cape, her body robed in blue. She stood before the boy and stared unblinking through his soul, and Perseus was gazed upon. She knew, and knew him whole. The wide-eyed Perseus was shook, and blushing looked astray, and then she spoke, and all the forest's noises rushed away. "Salute me, Perseus," she said, and Perseus complied. "I have for thee an errand, and I must not be denied." "But lady, who art thou?" he said, and blushed again with shame. As wondrous as she was, he knew not how she knew his name. "I'm called Athena Pallas," said the goddess in reply. "I know the thoughts of all men's hearts, their every truth and lie. The souls of clay I spurn, though lesser gods bless them with ease. They fatten up like idle sheep and spread their foul disease. They eat of grain they never sowed, like oxen in the stall. Their life is like a loathsome gourd, and like the gourd they fall. They never rise above the earth to shade the weary head, but ripen unbeloved, and then forgotten join the dead. But other souls are souls of fire, to whom I give more heat, whose virtue I intensify, whose power I complete. And these are heroes, sons of the divine, and truly blessed. Unlike the idle souls of clay, I drive them without rest. My heroes go on foreign paths, O Perseus, to fight the titans and the monsters and the foes of truth and light. I drive my heroes through their doubts, their perils, and their need. I drive them and I give them aid, and some are slain indeed. They lose the bloom of youth and die, and none knows when or where. And some of them win glory, and their latter days are fair. Their final fate is known to Zeus alone, and can't be guessed. But tell me, Perseus, which type of soul is better blessed? Then Perseus said boldly, I would die by seeking glory, and chance to lose the bloom of youth, or leave a lasting story. For better, far better nobly thus to risk than ease myself like sheep, and end by going neither known nor loved to final sleep. The wondrous woman laughed, a laugh most strange, and showed her shield, and cried, Behold, O Perseus, whereat a face appeared. Art thou so bold to face a monster such as this and slay it, that I may place its head upon my shield, and so display it? And Perseus beheld a face that stopped his very breath. It was a lovely woman, but her cheeks were pale as death. The twisting of her eyebrows spoke of pains that don't abate. Her mouth was pursed as though to hide the venom of a snake. Instead of hair, her scalp emitted vipers writhing round, whose forking tongues came outward while they hissed a hissing sound. Around her temples Perseus saw eagle's wings unfold, and clinging to her bosom claws of brass with tips of gold. So Perseus looked on until he memorized the face. If this good earth, he said, contains a beast of such disgrace, then I am honored to ensure that the monster is deceased. But pray, Athena, how am I to find this evil beast? And then the lady smiled again and said, Not yet, my child. Thy youth and lack of skill make thee unready for this trial. For thou hast seen the Gorgon, font of monsters, foe of men. Medusa is her evil name, and far away her den. Return then to thy home, for hero's work awaits thee there. Be manful in that task, and I shall send thee to her lair. And in a sudden flash, before the lad could say farewell, the vision disappeared to him, and broken was the spell. From this, the strangest dream of which he ever was aware, he never did forget that dreadful face with serpent hair. Thank you. Chapter 4 is expected to be Perseus and Polydectes, but I haven't written it yet, so that's where we leave it. So, thank you.
All right, let's give it up for Renato. All right, moving it right along, we have